Welcome back to another edition of Research Fantasy Presents, our NBA Fantasy Baller DFS edition for Thursday, April 27th, 2017. I'm your host, as always, Nick Valinchak, better known as Nick from CWE on all of your favorite daily fantasy sites, and I'm here to break down a shrinking slate of NBA playoff games. We're now 3 series complete. The 2 games tonight could as well end the series, as we have Toronto visiting Milwaukee with a lead, San Antonio visiting Memphis with a lead. Let's start with Toronto-Milwaukee. This has definitely been the most back and forth series, in my opinion, of the entire postseason. 2 really good teams, vying for their playoff lives at this point. On the Milwaukee side of things, or let's start with Toronto. On the Toronto side of things, Norman Powell was actually the one who controlled the last game from a scoring perspective. The entire team, at least the starting 5, kind of had everything spread out in terms of the amount of points that were scored. I don't know that that's something you want to rest your hat on necessarily. I don't know what the likelihood that they'll be able to come back and do that again is. I also don't know the likelihood of Norman Powell scoring what he did, but the fact remains he's in the starting 5. At least on FanDuel, he's priced at an absolutely ridiculous level, so can't really go wrong there. DeMar DeRozan would be my next pick from the game. I think he's someone who pretty clearly has to stay involved for the Raptors to win. And then beyond that, only other guys I'd look at, Kyle Lowry and Serge Ibaka. On the Milwaukee side of things, I was pretty high on Russell Westbrook in the game where he was facing elimination. I kind of feel the same way about Giannis today, for sure. He's got a ton of responsibility on his back. Chris Middleton seems to be suffering from nothing serious, but an illness, and that's going to be something that we want to pay attention to. Middleton's still a factor in this game as long as he plays. I know that it'll be mostly the Giannis show, but I like Middleton. I like Monroe. Monroe still has a lot of upside in this series, and this is going to be a game where they're going to need both Middleton and Monroe to step up. Giannis will not be able to do it himself. Beyond that, you could take a shot with Malcolm Brogdon. He's been decent in 2 of 5 games. So, you could be doing worse at this point in the playoff series. Everyone else, you could always take a flyer on Tony Snell, seeing the time he sees. If he manages to see 30, plus minutes on the floor, he could always dumb luck himself into a 25-point fantasy game. Outside of that, you're probably better off going in a different direction. Next up, San Antonio heads on the road to take on Memphis. If I'm not mistaken, the home team has won all the games in this series. Excuse me. Memphis putting up a much bigger fight than I would have ever given them credit for. I really don't think this Memphis team is even as good as they are playing. One kind of wonders, if Chandler Parsons would have been able to stay. Let me rephrase that. If Chandler Parsons at any point in the season would have been healthy, he was not healthy the entire season, and this strikes me as a situation where he rushed himself to get back and probably made matters worse. On the San Antonio side of the ball, it's Kawhi Leonard, 110%. This guy's, pretty much the only thing consistent going for them. LaMarcus Aldridge has taken to disappearing. Has taken to disappearing in this series, so you never know what you can get from him. But nonetheless, we still know this is a guy in the regular season who possesses a ton of upside, so he can go out and have a 40-point game in the blink of an eye. If they're trying to ice this series with Memphis tonight, then I could see him coming out and playing in a big way. Tony Parker has been a pleasant surprise. His price has just climbed up to the point where I don't exactly feel comfortable paying that cost. Not the worst pick, though. I think he's going to stay active. David Lee in the starting 5, 3,400. He's 19, 24.1 in the last 2 games. Again, Memphis pretty much all year, one of the things that they were skeptical against for sure was the power forward position because they never knew who they wanted to play out there, so they had no real consistency. Pau Gasol has not done as well as I thought he would. He makes a speculative play, and that's probably where I'd stop there. On the Memphis side of things, you know, Mark... man, I can't believe I can't get this. I can't stop yawning. I never yawn in my baseball videos. I don't understand. I probably will today, but I don't understand why when I'm talking basketball. Anyway, Mike Conley seeing the price creep up a little bit more on FanDuel here. You know, but the production pretty much speaks for itself. Again, this is a situation where I don't think they're going to go down without a fight. Conley, great place to start. Marc Gasol under 8K. I mean, I understand he's under 8K because the production just really hasn't been there, but he's capable of 40-plus points. Not going to hate on a guy like that tonight. Going to have some exposure. Zach Randolph priced at a point where he could still hit value, though he hasn't done that in back-to-back games. Vince Carter, a guy I still like force myself to go back to, and I keep telling myself eventually it's going to pan out. It finally did, exactly in the last game when he hit 18.5 fantasy points. I feel like he's got to have a 20-point game in him somewhere. And then James Ennis, just out of the fact that he's seeing a good amount of minutes, and you know I'm a big fan of minutes equals production. If I'm going to pick guys, I'd rather take a shot on someone who has 33 minutes under their belt than someone like a Brandon Jennings who's, you know, put together 15 in 17 minutes. I'd rather take, you know, a guy who has the minutes on the floor. That'll wrap it up for today. Thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel below. Head over to researchfantasy.com, sign up for our NBA mailing list, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at Research and Win, and join us again tomorrow.